All right, video 2 here. Moving and breath work and understanding how to use it. This one's about understanding when to make changes towards things, right? So we're gonna do the same thing we did with the first video, except this one is working. So I'll start with gear 1 for 10 breaths, gear 2 for 8, gear 3 for 6, gear 4 for 4, and then gear 5 for 2. All right? We're gonna keep the same intensity though. And this should help drive some better understanding towards things, all right? So, here we go. 10 breaths in gear 1, which is 2 in, 2 out, basically. Here we go. One more. And here we go, gear 2. Gear 3. Gear 4. Gear 5. Now, take the time to start to work through what it was that you felt through that. I held 176 watts the entire time, which I could do for gear 1 and I took that up to gear 5, but there was a very big change for me that started to happen at gear 2. But gear 2 and 4 for me felt similar. Gear 4 felt a little better than 2, just because I wasn't having to, which doesn't mean that gear 2 was necessarily better for that, because the output for me for gear 2 is actually higher work. And then gear 3, I don't use much when I'm going up or increasing intensity. I just find that the transition from gear 2 to gear 4 is much easier and much more efficient. And based on what I've seen on a metabolic cart and seen with near infrared spectroscopy, that transition is pretty positive. Although perfectly fine for somebody to use a gear 3. Don't worry about my breakdown of this. Do your own. Gear 4 also did not necessarily feel too right. It was just, I just didn't feel like it matched things. And that's just me. Gear 5 was too short to understand, but by the time I finished gear 5, here's what I felt. I felt the same thing that I felt when I was seated. I started to feel that same feeling. And I am not gonna over intellectualize all that stuff. But there are definite physiological responses that are going on when we overbreathe. And if you don't know how to match the breathing to the intensity, maybe just let the intensity go to the breathing for now. But an interesting thing that happens for a lot of people that I see is that the overbreathing begins at low level, and that's not 176 watts for most people. I start people with the assessment process I do around 80 watts, under 80 watts. And I see overbreathing at 80 watts. And that is limiting a lot of people with a lot of things. However, do your own analysis of this and go feel it out. See what you notice.